MH370, the world's biggest aviation mystery. Nearly 12 years ago, Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur en route to Beijing, China. Less than an hour after takeoff, it veered off course. The plane, with 239 people on board, vanished.
Where is the plane? Why did it disappear?
KS Narendran's wife, Chandrika Sharma, was one of the MH370 passengers.
So the questions have remained. The efforts to search have been, in lurches, in fits and bursts.
Small pieces of the plane have washed up, but no main wreckage has ever been found. The search resumed on December 30th, 2025. The Malaysian Transport Ministry said, the latest development underscores the government of Malaysia's commitment in providing closure to the families affected by this tragedy.
So we were left with no options, no answers, and only a number of questions that have lingered from the very start.
The latest search began in March 2025, but was suspended shortly after because of poor weather conditions. Marine robotics firm Ocean Infinity is again leading the search under a no-find, no-fee deal. If the wreckage is found, the company will receive $70 million. But Ocean Infinity wasn't able to find the missing plane in the last search in 2018. So what's different this time?
Technology has moved on leaps and bounds in recent years.
Richard Godfrey is a retired British aerospace engineer and independent researcher into MH370's disappearance.
Ocean Infinity have invested lots of money in the latest ships and the latest technology, both in AUVs, the autonomous underwater vehicles, and the ROVs, the remotely operated underwater vehicles.
The new mission is set to last 55 search days, from December to May. The search is expected to focus on an area of about 15,000 square kilometers, or nearly 5,800 square miles, off the coast of Perth in Western Australia.
We have to see exactly where they go. They originally said they would concentrate on an area between 33 degrees south and 36 degrees south. That covers the majority of the experts' so-called hotspots.
So why has it been so hard to find the wreckage of MH370, even in this narrower search area?
The seabed floor in the Indian Ocean is not a simple sandy seafloor. There are mountains and volcanoes and canyons, and it is a very difficult place to search.
For years, the relatives of the MH370 passengers have been calling for the search to be continued.
We are still living under the shadow of an unsafe act. A plane just disappeared. If it's happened once, who knows, it might happen again. And I think it's extremely important that the search yields at least some insight, some input in terms of how we might avoid a recurrence.
Given the scale and complexity of the undersea landscape, there are questions about whether the search will be successful this time after so many years.
It depends exactly where they do go, but it's at least 50-50 that they'll be successful. And if they do cover all of the hotspots from various experts, then I think it's probably up to 90%.
Locating the airplane's black box will be key to providing answers.
There's lots of information that will help build a picture of exactly what happened. And maybe when we have that information, we can then narrow down and answer those questions, who and why.
There is a question of justice. There is a question of fairness, to the families and to the traveling public. You can't just let a passenger aircraft just disappear.
We have aviation journalist Jeff Wise. Always good to have you, Jeff. After more than a decade of searching, why has it not been possible to locate the aircraft until maybe now, finally?
Well, that's a big question. Will they find it now? They have scanned a huge area of the seabed, equal in size, about to the size of the UK. So about 250,000 square kilometers. It hasn't been found. And that has really been quite shocking to the investigators who had expected to find it previous to now.
What made people believe that this latest search by the company Ocean Infinity was so promising?
So the plane vanished from Malaysian radar out over the Andaman Sea, and it had completely disappeared, and much to the surprise of investigators, the plane began to send these signals that had never been sent by a plane before, and they can't really explain how this box that sent these signals came to be turned back on. So very perplexing. However, when they did some mathematical analysis of the signals, it indicated that the plane had gone into the Southern Ocean, and it indicated where they should look for it. So they were quite confident they were going to find it. And they went and they spent all this money, as your earlier report indicated, and they didn't find it. And they can't really explain why. And so what they're doing right now is kind of grasping at straws, trying to look at the sort of fringes of the low probability area and kind of a desperate hope that their initial theory was correct.
I think one of the things about this disappearance is why the plane disappeared in the first place, and a lot of people speculating and wondering. A big mystery. Now, if the plane is found, could the wreckage include the black box, and would that black box still give an indication of what brought the plane down after so many years?
Yes, the black boxes will, in very high likelihood, be there. They will be readable. There might not be anything on the cockpit voice recorder because that only records 2 hours and the plane was missing for over 6 hours. But the flight data recorder will tell us exactly how the plane was turned, where it went, and that will allow us to kind of work backwards to infer who the perpetrator was and why they did it. But that's a really big if. As I said, the high probability area indicated by these signals has already been searched, and they're really kind of grasping for straws now. I think people should start to prepare themselves for the possibility that this search will also be unsuccessful.
Now, if this search, as you say, is unsuccessful, what would be the next steps, or would there be no further steps? Would there be a moment in time where people say we just have to give up?
No, absolutely not. I hope that people don't reach that conclusion. If the plane isn't found in the search area, people really need to stop and question their assumptions and recognize that maybe the theory that led us to search in this part of the ocean is incorrect. And then the follow-up question is, okay, how could we have been wrong? How could these signals have been generated in a way that it's not actually there, even though the signals seem to say that they're there?
Journalist Jeff Wise, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.